What's going on, guys? It is Shay here. Welcome back to another video, and today, everybody, welcome back to another tier list. I just woke up from a nap. May not sound like it, but I did. And also, I turned off my webcam for this video because I honestly just don't feel like having it on. Because it's kind of difficult to work around with and shit like that. So I just turned it off for this video, and it probably will be turned off for the next few tier lists I will do because I'm going to be recording another one right after this one. And this one is actually I have a feeling is going to be a pretty big deal for a lot of people because today's tier list we're going to be ranking Slipknot's album Iowa. Iowa is one of Slipknot's most popular albums. With that being said, let's begin. Okay, so the first song that we have here is 515, which is the intro to the album. And I'm pretty sure people just wondering, like, what do those numbers mean? Well, 515 is apparently the area code, or one of the area codes for Iowa. Or Des Moines, Iowa, I think. But 515 has a much darker, like, it has a very much darker, or a much darker, backstory to it. 515 was recorded, I think this was one of the last few songs recorded for the Sessions of Iowa. Around the time, I think sometime before the album was released, or sometime before the album was completely finished, Sid Wilson's granddad had passed away. And it's either no one told him, or he got to the hospital too late, and then he found out that his grandpa died. And because of this, he went back to the studio. And from different accounts I've been hearing, it's either he went back to all I know is that he went back to the studio, he grabbed the mic, and literally screamed like pretty much all of his his emotions into that microphone. People were saying that Clown gave him a microphone, or the band allowed him to just take a microphone and just scream in it. Or it was just he just went into the studio when no one else was there, and he took the microphone and started screaming in it. And also, I should also point out, this is probably the most unsettling intro to an album I've ever heard. And I've heard a good amount of the intros to other albums, not even Slipknot, because Slipknot apparently, from what I know, always has an intro to their album. The intro is always is always tied to their albums. But yeah, dude, this is probably one of the most unsettling intros, to an album I've ever heard in my life. And I really do like 515. Ironic how that sounds, but I genuinely do like 515. 515 is more in the B tier. I mean, mostly because it's the intro to the album, so yeah. So the next song that we have here is People Equal Shit, which is one of Slipknot's most popular, not want to say one of the most popular, but is a well-known song from Slipknot. It's a very great way to start off the album. And and it just has that level of anger to of course, this goes with any other song on the album. They all have that sort of, that almost the same energy of angriness in them. And People Equal Shit, from what I've heard, is literally a song, pretty much a message to either their fans or to just people in general, saying, leave us the fuck alone. Because apparently, around this time, I think the reason why the band fell in such, or when it, went into such a dark place at the time is because, it's because that they didn't want to be that famous, but they ended up, of course, because of their success from their self-titled, or something like that. This may be completely fake and be completely wrong, and if so, please fucking tell me, because I don't know if I'm saying this or not, but apparently this song is meant to be that way. I do remember at one point, People Equal Shit used to rank around the top 5 of my favorites. Now it is ranked down to 8th place in one of my favorites. I love People Equal Shit, but I've kind of grown out of the song because, hell, there are way better, not going to say way better, but there are more songs up here and more underrated songs up here that I really like instead of, this. We're going to go ahead and put this out, of course, in A tier. So the next song that we have here is Disaster Piece, which is, of course, another great song. And I also think this is the only other song that was released as a single. No, wait, no. I think I may be mistaken. I forgot you have these other two songs, but the next song was using a movie soundtrack as well. So yeah. Anyways, Disaster Piece was, of course, it's the same. Like the beginning of the song already has that tinge of oh yeah, like it's just about to go down pretty much. Um, but yeah, dude, Disaster Piece. I don't have anything else to say. It goes right here at an A tier. So the next song that we have here is My Plague, which is of course the fourth song off the album, and one of the few Slipknot songs that were used in a movie. But yeah, My Plague was apparently featured either for just part of a music video for Resident Evil, or I'm not sure if it was like the theme song pretty much for Resident Evil because I've never watched the movie before. But I really do like My Plague though, dude. It's in like the top, like of course in the top maybe I don't know, the top 10, because I think I have like 9 favorites off the album. Every other song is like, a good song in my opinion, but every one's are like my other favorites. But My Plague has that right, I guess, the right amount of heaviness to me, dude. Like enough for me to headbang to the song like quite a lot. Like I really love the song, dude. This goes in an S tier. So the next song that we have here is Everything Ends, which was originally my favorite song off of the album, but that has changed. Um, Everything Ends is a pretty okay song, and I think from what people were saying, and I think maybe from like Corey himself, this song was about one of the last few times Corey had ever tried to kill himself, or something like that. But Everything Ends. I really do like the song. It's my second favorite song off the album now. Um, but I liked the song at first. Like it was my favorite, but of course that has changed a lot. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just put this at up here at an S tier. The next song that we have here is the Heretic Anthem. I also forgot that the Heretic Anthem was of course also released as a single as well. Um, so the Heretic Anthem. I don't even know what much to say about this, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, pretty much to me, every song after Disaster Piece are all, like, I mean, I'm not saying that Disaster Piece and People Equal Shit aren't heavy. I'm just saying that the songs get even heavier after Disaster Piece. Like, you have My Plague, Everything Ends Not So Much, but you got the Heretic Anthem, which just stars up that fucking heaviness again. So, yeah, the Heretic Anthem, I really also love this song. Like I think it's in my top 5, if not maybe my top 4, or maybe it might just be top 5. I'm not sure. S tier. So the next song that we have here is Gently, which is I'm not really familiar with the song, but from when I did listen to an entire playthrough, because I ran all of Slipknot's albums through when I was first getting into them. I think I did it in order. No, well technically I was supposed to do them in order. I did Subliminal Verses before I did Iowa, and then after Iowa I finished every other song or every other album. But Gently, it's the more calmer song off their album. Not really heavy. Sorry. But it's the more slower paced song off their album. It kind of slows things up a little bit. But I'm not a big fan of this song. I'd very much rather prefer the original Gently, which I think was Killers Are Quiet from the Make Feet Kill Repeat album. I'd very much rather prefer that one than the Iowa version. But the Iowa version is also perfectly good. But because I'm not a big fan of Gently, we already know where this is gonna go. So the next song that we have here is Left Behind. Left Behind, is another song, that, kind of brings up that. But Left Behind is another song that was, of course, made into a music video, and, is another song, of course, that brings up the heaviness factor into Iowa a lot more because, the previous song was, more of, it was a little calm song. I guess a little song to stray away from the intensity of the album. So Left Behind, we already know where it's gonna have to go. So the next song that we have here is The Shape. The Shape, it's an interesting song, and I also never really heard people pretty much talk about, except for the very last song off the album, I never heard people talk about these 4 songs, well, these 5 songs right here. Like, The Shape and every other, pretty much every song from here on out are all very underrated songs. We already know where this is going, but I will of course explain the next song, which is I Am Hated. This is of course another great song from this album that not many people look up to, or not look up to, but not a song that not many people like turn their head toward. Yeah, we already know where this one's going too. The next song that we have here is Skin Ticket. So, if I'm correct, somebody had said that this was also from another personal experience that Corey has, like how I don't remember what it was, but it was bad enough to the point where it made him have a breakdown in the booth, but like in the recording booth, whatever, which isn't really unusual for Corey because it's like in the first. I would say in the first three albums of Slipknot, he was known for having breakdowns in the booth. I don't know if it was for the dramatic factor or if he was genuinely tweaking. I don't know. Um, but yeah. Um, but yeah, Skin Ticket is of course a very good song that not many people turn their head to. The next song that we have here is New Abortion, which is my favorite song off of Iowa. I New Abortion have really taken the fucking spot for my first place. As I said, Everything Ends was my favorite song off the album, but New Abortion had outranked that by a fucking long shot. This song is probably to me the heaviest song off the album, and I am sorry to say this because I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh yeah, but you have My Plague, you have Disaster Piece." This song is probably the most insane and the most heaviest song off of the album, like all the fucking way. And I don't know, man. It's such a fucking it's such a good song, and I really wish people would turn their head to this song a lot more. So you already know where this has to go. So the next song that we have here is Metabolic, which is another underrated song off of Iowa. um, Metabolic is just like New Abortion. It's I think my second or third favorite song off of the album. And now that I think about it, it might just be my second favorite song off the album. So you already know where this is gonna have to go. And the last song that we have here for Iowa is, of course, the title track, Iowa. Now, I have to say this. This is more than likely Slipknot's darkest song ever made. And I'm pretty sure that's probably an overstatement, but not too much of an overstatement to be, considered it's on the same level as Slipknot, because Iowa, first off, it has a dark meaning to the song, but the backstory to how the song was made also has a dark history or has a dark backstory to it. Let's start up with not necessarily the message, but let's start up with like the dark meaning behind the song or like what the song is about. The song is apparently about a guy who does necrophilic sex with, of course, if anybody doesn't know what necrophilia is, research it. I'm not gonna explain it, but he would proceed to try to do necrophilia on a dead body or or with a corpse. But the how the song was recorded is even more disturbing. So apparently Corey, and this was said by him, I think at a concert or something like that. But I don't think it was a Slipknot concert. I think it may have been a Stone Sour concert. But he had stated how in the studio while recording Iowa, he had vomited all over himself, or he had vomited on his clothes. He had taken off. He stripped himself completely naked, and I think, either broke glass or took just broken glass shards, and started fucking just either dragging him like on his skin, like cutting himself. And I think he even dug those shards of glass into the wounds that he created to make his scream sound as authentic as possible. And in certain parts of the song, you have him saying things like, apparently saying things like "Don't look at me" or stuff like that, which I think he was saying to the band when they were watching him, do this. Um, but I can't believe, dude. Like, Iowa is such a bone-chilling song to me. Like, it's one of the few songs from Slipknot that actually scares me, or that actually not even necessarily scares me. It more makes me very unsettled, makes me very uneasy, because like Iowa is even darker than Scissors. Like, at least in Scissors, Corey wasn't cutting himself. All he doing was either coughing up blood or vomiting. At least he was doing that. At least he wasn't cutting himself. But here, he was like pretty much doing self-mutilation on himself, cutting himself all over his body, and then sticking those glass shards into the wounds to make it hurt more, to get those screams out as authentic as possible, is a lot of work to put into this. And I really want to know what happened to Corey after they recorded like the song of Iowa. And I presume that Iowa is one of the last few songs recorded for the album, because there is no way I can see the song being recorded as one of the first few songs, or maybe one of the middle songs, or one of the maybe a song that was recorded like the middle of the session. I like to believe this is probably maybe behind 515, the second to last song recorded for the album. I can just imagine it already. Um, but yeah, dude. And for the song being, if I'm correct, 15 minutes and 5 seconds, it is very much worth the time to listen to. I remember because when I play game, like when I listen to music, I usually play games while I'm playing said music. And when I was listening to Iowa for the first time, like full run, I was playing Splitgate, and of course, getting to the final song, I usually stop and just listen to the final song, especially if it's a long one. Um, and when I was listening, I was just wise-eyed open the first time I was hearing this. Like, the song is so fucking dark. So, and I don't even pay attention to the lyrics. I more just listen to, I can't tell if it's a kid screaming in the background or if it's a kid, like screaming either in pain or screaming, or like, squealing in like joy, like playing and everything. And people are saying that this is Slipknot's version of "Daddy" by Korn, which was the last song of their self-titled album. And I'm pretty sure if you don't know about that song, go fucking research it. The meaning for that song is even darker than Iowa, because Corey was just being edgy here, and for Korn, Jonathan Davis had a full-on reason to be acting the way he did behind the fucking microphone. But I'm not gonna go into detail with that because yeah. And this song is dark, and for that reason, it gets an S tier. So with that being said, that ends my tier list for Iowa. So this album is fucking insane, dude. It is Slipknot's heaviest, angriest, and their darkest album to date. Like, Slipknot will never be able to make anything like this, mostly because that, first off, old band members have either left, or, well, two have died, and multiple of them have either left or gotten fired. And, and even if they were still here, in the band and everything, they probably would have quit old habits, because around this time, as I said, alcohol and drugs were a major influence in this. Because, especially with, like, Corey and everybody, I think Paul had even divulged into like the alcohol and drugs. I don't really remember, but a lot of the band members were in some really bad habits at the time. And ever since this album, I think around the time of All Hope Was Gone was made, Corey had stopped his drinking habits and smoking. So from what I can tell, he had been sober when he was recording this session. I don't know, but this album remains as a pretty much a flagship album from Slipknot, if you will. Like, you can more say this is their magnum opus, like, in a way. Which would be the same thing for the next tier list I'm going to be doing right after this video. So, with that being said, thanks for watching this video, and if anybody has any objections with my tier list or would like to comment about it and maybe comment their own tier list, then I am very much looking forward to it. And also, I have comments for my first Slipknot tier list video. I did not expect that tier list to get so much recognition. Like, I was just thinking that Slipknot, like, that album, like, that album, like, their self-titled album, was going to just be like all my other tier list videos, not really having a lot of views or anything. But that one, I think it has like 200 views and climbing, which is a good amount for a channel like mine, even though I don't care about views. I'm just kind of surprised that it got that many. And somebody had said that they were looking forward to seeing me do Iowa. And person, if you're watching this, I don't remember your name, I'm so sorry, but if you are watching this, then your dream has been fulfilled. Here is Iowa right here. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.